দর্শক আমন্ত্রণ আন্তর্জাতিক সম্পর্ক উন্নয়ন বিষয়ক RTV নিয়মিত আলোচনা অনুষ্ঠান ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক জোনে। আপনাদের সঙ্গে আছি আমি সৈয়দ আশিক রহমান। আমাদের আজকের অতিথি ঢাকায় রিপাবলিক অফ কোরিয়ার নবনিযুক্ত রাষ্ট্রদূত হিজ এক্সেলেন্সি লি জাং-keun। Very welcome, Your Excellency, at Diplomatic Zone.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. It is my great pleasure to be here with you.
Well, Excellency, as far we know, this is your first interview with any broadcast media in Bangladesh. What are your feelings?
Frankly, I have some mixed feelings. Obviously, I feel somewhat nervous as this is my very first time to appear in Bangladesh TV program. But I think it should be natural to anybody to face such a situation like me today. But on the other hand, I feel somewhat excited to have this chance to speak about myself and also through me about Korea and Korea-Bangladesh relations.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Excellency, you have a high mission to represent Republic of Korea as ambassador in Bangladesh. Would you please share your experience with us so far?
Indeed, as you said, it's a high mission to serve as ambassador to your great country. And I feel some solemn responsibility now because in this situation to maintain and strengthen and even deepen the relationship between our two countries should be very challenging ones. But for me, I have been here in Dhaka just for 2.5 months now, so that I may have some limited experience to share with you at this stage.
Well,
but if I can try, then there might be about three things I can share with you. And first of all, it is about my coming here itself. For me, coming to Dhaka itself was a big challenge in this Corona situation. Even to find the right flight to come here was very difficult. And as you may know, until around the end of June, there was no commercial flight to come to Dhaka. But fortunately, I could find one. And just before coming here, Bangladesh government opened some commercial airlines through Europe and through some Middle East countries. So I was fortunate to find one flight.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, Bangladesh and Republic of Korea are enjoying excellent bilateral relations. How do you anticipate these relations developing further in coming days?
Yes, as you said, our relationship has been very excellent since the establishment of our diplomatic ties in 1973. And I can give you some examples in various fields. First, in trade, the bilateral trade volume now is at 1.6 billion US dollars.
Well,
and also in terms of the FDI, Korean companies' investment here is accumulated volume reaches to 1.2 billion US dollars, which makes Korea in the sixth in the rank among the international countries coming here.
Well,
and also this development cooperation is also a very important area of cooperation. And Bangladesh is among Korea's priority partner countries. And Korea was the 9th major donor of official development assistance in 2018, according to the statistics of OECD, and with the amount of $67 million in that year. And also in terms of the concessional loan, soft loan by Korea, Bangladesh is the second largest recipient. Right. And up to now, Korea supported 24 projects with this soft loan with the amount of 1.1 billion US dollars. But this is not all. And more important thing between us is that we see a great potential for further strengthening ties between us. And there is a really great willingness and interest among the people for stronger ties between us. And since my arrival, I have met a number of government officials and as well as the leaders in private sector. But surprisingly, almost all of them spoke very highly of our bilateral relations.
That's great.
And it all hoped, stronger ties between us. I think it might provide very fertile ground for us to further develop our relationship in the future.
Great. Well, Excellency, regarding COVID-19 issues, what is the current situation in South Korea? What is the secret to the success of effectively containing the spread of the virus in your country?
The situation of coronavirus in South Korea now, we have accumulated total infection number to 23,200 as of today, with the total deaths is 388. And today we had about 110 daily infections today. But the number is not a high number, but Korea has been suffering from this coronavirus, and we had making very strenuous effort to overcome this one. So I don't know whether you can call it a success or not, but relatively. So especially Korea, through the world attention, when Korea conducted successfully the nationwide general election in April, in the very middle of COVID-19. And we had no problem and no infection case was reported during the period, so that Korea was much praised by the international community.
Exactly. So we are asking that what is the secret, the situation under control?
Whether we could call it a secret or not, I think I can provide you three reasons. First is the lessons learned from the past experience, in particular from our 2015 MERS pandemic, which hit very hard East Asia, especially Northeast Asia. And at the time, Korea hit very hard by the MERS, but this experience strengthened our capacity to counter the similar future situations. And at the time, actually, my country revised relevant laws handling the virus, and also even reformed our system so that we could effectively counter such a virus situation in the future. And when this COVID-19 finally hit us this year, we were better prepared for this. And this system we prepared before started operating as expected and as planned. And that might be the first factor that helped us to successfully handle the situation. And second might be our active testing and tracing using innovative IT technology. From the very start of this virus, Korea conducted very aggressive testing. And this testing, throughout this testing, we could identify the risk factors. And after we find this new infection, then we conducted very aggressive contact tracing. And in this contact tracing, we also utilized very actively our IT technology. And that made us to succeed in effective contact tracing. Right. And this might be the second secret or second factor.
Excellency Mr. Lee, I'm sorry, but South Korea has expressed its skepticism about Bangladesh's testing capacity on COVID-19. What is your stance right now?
Regarding the question, there seems to be some misunderstanding because Korea has never raised skepticism on the Bangladesh's COVID-19 testing capacity. It might be because that Korea is temporarily applying strengthened immigration measures on Bangladesh people, especially since 23rd June. And for that, at present, we do not issue new visas to Bangladesh people, but those who have a valid visa have no problem in coming to Seoul and traveling between the two countries. But this situation is only temporary, and as the situation in Korea and also in Bangladesh improves, these temporary measures will be lifted.
In your view, how is the virus outbreak affecting Korean companies operating here?
So this COVID-19 is posing an unprecedented challenge to everybody, every company, so that it is obvious that Korean companies in Bangladesh are all going through a very tough time, especially these small and medium-sized business are having a more tough time than the others. And for that, a few companies had to close their business here temporarily, and some of them permanently.
Well,
and now also many Koreans who have lived and worked and run business here in Bangladesh have returned back to Korea. Again, for them also, most of them are permanently, but some of them had to return temporarily. Most of them are temporarily, but some of them permanently as well. So this is the situation, but there is one thing I'd like to share with you about the situation of some major Korean companies working here, especially those companies involved in several infrastructure projects in Bangladesh. For them, they do not excuse COVID-19 for the delay of their projects under their responsibility, and they have shown a strong sense of responsibility and commitment in carrying out their projects. And despite these immense challenges caused by the virus. And a few days ago, I met the head of the Samsung Corporation office here.
well,
And this Samsung Corporation is constructing a new third terminal of Dhaka International Airport.
that's great.
Which the construction started just in April, in the very middle of COVID-19.
That's great.
And about 70 experts and 70 technicians have been dispatched from Seoul to here. And I heard that the construction that they are doing is not behind the schedule, but ahead of the schedule, even in the middle of these corona challenges. So there are some grim aspects of Korean companies, but there are also very positive aspects as well. So this is also very temporary challenges we are all facing. And I think Korean companies here are doing very well. And soon I hope that they could return to normal so that they can enjoy the very prosperous business relations they enjoyed in previous days.
Excellency, we'll talk more after a short break. দর্শক দেখছেন আন্তর্জাতিক সম্পর্ক উন্নয়ন বিষয়ক আরটিভির নিয়মিত অনুষ্ঠান ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক জোন। এই পর্যায়ে নিচ্ছে বিরতি, ফিরছি একটু পরেই। সে পর্যন্ত আমাদের সাথেই থাকুন। দর্শক, আবারও আমন্ত্রণ ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক জোনে। কথা বলছিলাম ঢাকায় রিপাবলিক অফ কোরিয়ার নবনিযুক্ত রাষ্ট্রদূত হিজ এক্সেলেন্সি লি জাংকুনের সঙ্গে। ওয়েলকাম এগেইন এক্সেলেন্সি লি জাংকুন at Diplomatic Zone. Mr. Ambassador, what kind of impact has the virus had on functioning of South Korean companies based in Bangladesh? And what sort of assistance would they like from the Bangladesh government?
The COVID-19's impact on Korean companies I already explained in previous answers.
Well,
And the very basic and common requests of Korean companies who are suffering from this situation to the Bangladesh government, I think it will be equal treatment with the local companies, especially in government COVID-19 related assistance program, such as the subsidies and low interest loan and tax benefit like this. And in that regard, I'd like to remind you that there are as many as 75 Korean companies operating in export processing zones. There are around 100 EPZ around the country. And these companies are all going through a very tough time, just like other local companies. And I only hope that they could keep alive so that they can continue to employ the Bangladesh people and also contribute to the country's economic development. And also in this regard, I intend to work with the relevant ministries and offices so that sufficient support can be provided to Korean companies by both Korean and also the Bangladesh government.
Well, Excellency, regarding Korean EPZ issue, there was some argument over KEPZ. Investment of Samsung Electronics and Yangon Corporation in Bangladesh through KEPZ. How does both countries may beneficiary by this initiative? And what about POSCO?
Yes, KPZ is regarded as a symbol of close bilateral cooperation between our two countries. And KPZ is the first and largest EPZ operated by private sector. And the Yongwon company, Korean company, is not only the operator of this KPZ, but also the largest Korean investor in Bangladesh. Its accumulated investments reached so far over $300 million. And I heard that even this year alone, they made a fresh investment worth of $30 million. So they are main Korean company operating in the country. And Yongwon came here at the very stage of the development of our bilateral cooperation. But unfortunately, there is a long-standing pending issue regarding the deed of transfer of the land they are operating. And we hope to see the early resolution of this issue. And that early resolution will also help for the other future Korean companies to come to Bangladesh for fresh investment opportunities.
Well,
and in this, the other Korean companies, obviously, the two companies you mentioned, Samsung and POSCO, will be also the very exemplary companies consider increasing their business. And you may not know that the Samsung Electronics is already assembling their newest model of mobile phone partnership with local companies. And also Samsung Electronics also operates R&D center in near Dhaka. So if such big global company like Samsung is making an investment and operates its factory in Bangladesh, then I think it will definitely elevate the level of cooperation between our two countries.
Exactly. Thank you. Ambassador Lee, what is the progress of exporting skilled manpower to South Korea from Bangladesh? How we may optimist on manpower issue? Regarding Bangladeshi students, how does Korean government may assist our students?
Yes, regarding this, the manpower, Bangladesh manpower working in Korea, as of June, there are more than 18,000 Bangladeshi people living in Korea, and most of whom are workers and their families. Among them also there are 1,300 students studying in Korea. So majority of these people are workers. And before the COVID-19 situation, the number of Bangladeshi people arriving in Korea had been increasing every year. The number was 13,000 in 2016, but in 2019, the number was 18,000, more than around 20% increase in just a few years. So, and these Bangladeshi workers have contributed a lot to the Korean economy, especially in the manufacturing sector, where skilled and educated workers are very needed. And I'm very happy to share with you that these Bangladesh workers in Korea have been sending home a significant amount of wages they earn in Korea. The figure in 2019 and 20, just announced a few weeks ago, was $177 million, which makes Korea ranked 12th in terms of the origin of this wage remittance by Bangladesh expatriates. But unfortunately, the use of Bangladesh manpower in Korea has been affected by this corona pandemic. In particular, having new Bangladeshi workers is difficult now. So there is no increase of the numbers. but the number stays the same as previous years, around 18,000 now. So, but it is only temporary. And as the corona situation improves, I think the number of Bangladesh workers in Korea will increase again. So for that, I'm working very closely with the Bangladesh government and also my own government back in Seoul. In Korea, many universities are doing their semester in online format. So those who have already studied in Korea will stay there, will extend their academic the experience. But there might be problem those who want to come to Korea enrolling in new semester. So if they are in Bangladesh and if they do not have a valid visa yet, then temporarily until the strengthened measures is lifted, it might not be possible as well. But again, for this, I'm very closely working with my headquarters in Seoul and also with the Bangladesh Foreign Ministry. To if there is any individual cases to be resolved, then we are ready to address that. But as a collective, Bangladesh students who want to come to Korea in new semester, then it may take a little bit of time to return to the previous normal stage.
Excellency Ambassador, in your view, how does Korean model can help Bangladesh to move forward?
Korean government has been always stand by the Bangladesh government and people in its effort to develop its country socially and economically, especially in a way to achieving the goal of this 2024, achieving this developing nation's status. And for Korea, I think the very existence of Korea or Korean model, as you said, may mean a lot to other aspiring developing countries like Bangladesh. And Korea not only present the reference or example to other countries to follow or to copy, but also gives a hope and dream to other countries' people.
Well,
Korea was a country, once lost independence under colonial rule, and also we experienced a very devastating war in 1950s, and Korea was one of the poorest country in the world. But now Korea has become the world's 11th main economy, and we achieved this in few generations.
That's great.
If we could have done this, why not others? And I see very bright potential and future for Bangladesh to
That's great.
take the similar route as we have done.
Thank you. Excellency Ambassador, we are end of the program. Any final thoughts you want to share with our viewers?
I'm very happy to have this opportunity to serve as ambassador to Bangladesh, the great country with great potential, with which Korea enjoyed very excellent relationship. And I feel really solemn responsibility to conduct my work here, especially as this is a very challenging time, unprecedented corona pandemic time. And both countries' people are going through very turbulent times. So I hope that together with Bangladesh government and Bangladesh people, we can get over these challenges successfully. And during the course, Korea will stand by the people and the government of Bangladesh and to help them to overcome these challenges together. I'm willing and ready to work with the people and government of Bangladesh to cope with this very turbulent, challenging time successfully. And Korea will stand by the people and government of Bangladesh in this course. And during my mandate, I will do my best. But to achieve my intended goal, also it requires cooperation from the people and government of Bangladesh. And I hope that we can work together in this very challenging time so that our relationship already a very close relationship could reach into a new phase, a very higher level after we gone through all these turbulent times successfully.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm looking forward to working very closely with your people, with your government, and with your country.
Thank you, Excellency, for sharing your views with us. We wish you good health and all success and prosperity.
Thank you very much for having me, and the same to you. I wish you all the success, especially in this time. Stay strong and healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. দর্শক, বাংলাদেশ এবং দক্ষিণ কোরিয়ার মধ্যে রয়েছে 4.5 দশকেরও বেশি সময়ের সম্পর্ক। দীর্ঘ এই সময়ে দুই দেশের মধ্যে বাণিজ্য যেমন সম্প্রসারিত হয়েছে, তেমনি দ্বিপাক্ষিক সম্পর্ক রূপ নিয়েছে অবিচল আস্থায়। বিশ্বায়িত রোগ করোনায় সারা বিশ্ব যখন বিপর্যস্ত, তখন দক্ষিণ কোরিয়ার সরকার নিজেদের অনেকটাই নিয়ন্ত্রণ করতে সক্ষম হয়েছে। এছাড়া করোনা মোকাবিলায় বাংলাদেশ সরকারকে যেভাবে সহযোগিতার হাত বাড়িয়েছে, তা বন্ধুত্বপূর্ণ সম্পর্কে এক অনন্য দৃষ্টান্ত স্থাপন করেছে। বাংলাদেশে দক্ষিণ কোরিয়ার নবনিযুক্ত রাষ্ট্রদূতের কথার সূত্র ধরেই আমরা বলতে চাই, ভবিষ্যতে দুই দেশের মধ্যকার দ্বিপাক্ষিক এই সম্পর্ক আরও উন্নত, দীর্ঘস্থায়ী এবং অটুট হবে, এই প্রত্যাশায় শেষ করছি আজকের ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক জোন। এতক্ষণ আমাদের সঙ্গে থাকার জন্য ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে।
For more updates, subscribe and press the bell icon on YouTube app and never miss another update.